Hello again. My name is Kim, and I am a hopeful writer in transition, writer in training, whatever you'd like to say. In my first video, I went into a little bit why I'm calling myself that and not just, hi, I'm Kim, I'm a writer, because I don't feel like I'm quite there yet. Until I can actually say that this is my job, I don't quite feel like it is. So yeah, that's why. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. If you see my eyes moving back and forth, I'm trying to connect with my device and trying to connect with you as well. I'm very new to this whole thing, so please bear with me as I try to wrinkle or iron out all those wrinkles. We don't want to wrinkle out the irons, that's for sure. But it's wonderful to see you back here today. In my first three videos, the first one I just did an introduction about myself, who I am, what I do, a little bit about how I fell into this whole wonderful, crazy journey. The second video went into inspiration and some of my other things to do with writing. And then the third video, my last one, really sort of delved into the writing process, or how my process is, how I do it, a little bit on editing, and then I touched on publishing at the very, very end of the video, and that I said I would come back to. So today I really wanted to emphasize first and foremost that everything that I'm talking about is in relation to me personally and directly. In by no means am I an expert in this area. I just wanted to share with you my journey and my process and some of the things I have done that I have found useful, and then continue from there. So please don't take this as gospel by any means. This is just from one writer's heart to another. I think we are actually a massive community, and you know, there's all of us hopeful people out there who are really trying to break through, and it's a really challenging thing, especially in a time with this COVID-19 virus, and being isolated and alone and feeling a little haphazard about what's going on and not sure where to go. So this is just my journey, my confessions, some of the things that I've done, some of what works for me. So yeah, so it's just my personal feelings, my opinions. So take it with a grain of salt, or if it helps you, that's wonderful. So today I really wanted to look at genres. What should you write about? And for me, again, my personal journey, my personal opinions, I think you should really write about, okay, one of two things. One, something that you are hyper passionate about that just touches you to the very core, and it doesn't have to be something positive. If you want to write about your journey through this whole quarantine business, that would be a perfect thing to write about if it's something that is truly meaningful down to your core. So that would be something, somewhere I would start, because if it touches you, in all likelihood, it's going to touch someone else. If it's from your experiences and your background, whether good or bad, I guarantee you there are others in the world who have gone through similar circumstances. And write from your heart and write honestly and truthfully. Now, of course, every writer has the ability and gift to exaggerate, to bend things to make it their own, or to not quite make it quite so personal, because sometimes writing something truly personal can be painful. It can be excruciatingly difficult. So you can bend and maneuver and manipulate those circumstances to best suit you. So that's the first place I'd start. Or the second place is kind of where where I started from, and where I was kind of thrown into was something that you are very, very familiar with. That is also meaningful, but something that that you have been surrounded by for a really long time. So for me, my genre has become mid-grade fantasy books, and it's really because of the fairy tale that I started telling my daughter to help get her to sleep Christmas a year and a half ago. Once upon a time, even though my tale doesn't actually begin that way, and I have been passionate about fairy tales since I was a little girl. I think I've read all of them. I love mythology, Greek and Roman. I love beautifully written stories that explain things, that have a moral to them, that have little twists and turns. And of course, fairy tales are wonderful at that. But I also wanted to make mine super unique. There's a lot of different takes on traditional fairy tales, and they're wonderful. But I really wanted to create a modern day new twist on the whole kings and queens and castles and princesses and kingdoms and all of that sort of a thing. So mine was based on experience, the type of reading I love to do, the stories that I am familiar with a major twist that has come from my biggest source of inspiration, which happens to be my children, who are co-writing these stories with me. And I also am drawing from another passion of mine, which is science. So I'm combining science and magic, which I spoke briefly about in a previous video. But I am a super science geek, science fan. I love dinosaurs. I love chemistry. I love biology, all of that sort of thing. I'm fascinated with anatomy, and so I'm bringing a sense of that into the stories as well, because it's something that's truly meaningful to me. So I am basing my books on my experience as a reader, the types of books I love to read. I'm basing it from my main source of inspiration, which is my children. I'm basing it on fairy tales, which I've always loved and been fascinated by. And I am also infusing the tales with real life experiences as well, because I haven't said this before, but I'll give you a little teaser. The main characters in my stories are based on my children. So their quirks and quirks, how they relate to each other, their personality traits are very much the same in my stories as they are in real life. And they are the two characters that I had mentioned before that I was struggling to make, or that I had been told were not realistic enough, because I think I took the best side of them, ignoring all of the trials and tribulations my kids go through and how much they can get at each other's throats sometimes. And I neglected to infuse that in my stories. And it is that realism and that connectivity and people being able to relate to your characters that truly makes them endearing, or makes you hate them, but you just love to hate them because they're so real. They make such a good villain, those kind of things. So my advice to you is either write something that is absolutely a source of passion for you, that you can write with abandon, but also that you are knowledgeable in and you know something about, and that you can really truly infuse part of you into that story, part of your personality, good and or bad, based on your history, your likes, your desires, your experiences, that sort of thing. Or write about something that you are hyper knowledgeable about. If you are a chef and love to cook and have created your own recipes, write a cookbook if it's something you're passionate about. If you love murder mysteries, and you know all of the steps you need to create a wonderful mystery, then write about a mystery. If you are into romance and love and great sex scenes, then write about that. Whatever is something that will be meaningful to you, I guarantee you will be meaningful to other people. Now, do you have to stick with the same genre? In my opinion, absolutely not. I don't think you need to stick with the same thing. If you are a fabulous chef who happens to be also hyper romantic and love that sort of thing, why can't you write a cookbook and a romance novel? Why can't you combine the two and write a cooking show romance novel? I don't know, something like that. So I don't think you need to pigeonhole yourself into any one genre. I think trying your hand at different things is a wonderful thing to do. Right now, though, I've just finished helping my son write a story for his language arts teacher, or for his teacher in language arts, and the ideas this little boy came up with are so fantastic that it kind of got me thinking that, okay, I think this could be some awesome ideas for another book series. So I have written them all down in my handy dandy notebook that I always keep with me. That was in my second video after my introduction. I think I talked about that, or maybe I did talk about that in my introduction. I'm sorry, I can't remember which video. Anyway, it was in a previous video where I said always keep a notepad or your phone or an iPad handy, so whenever you get inspiration, write it down. Keep it with you, because it could be years and years and years before you get back to that. Anyway, just follow your heart, follow your mind. It doesn't necessarily, the two don't necessarily need to be linked. There's a lot of books out there that are completely factual, but if it's something that ignites true interest in you, it will ignite it in someone else. Or if it's something that touches you deeply, I'm sure it will touch someone else. So there are so many different genres out there. So just follow your heart, follow your head, follow your passion, follow your knowledge. Choose something that will be a good fit for you and that you find relatively easy to write about. I think the more it flows out of you, the better fit it is for you. I think if you are stumbling and struggling and really have blocks and walls, then perhaps you might want to give something else a go that comes to you a little bit easier. Anyway, I've been rambling on again. So I think I will stop there, and I hope some of what I'm saying is meaningful to you and helps you along this journey.